This week, I played my first grass court event in over a year. The goal is simple: achieve my first grass court win in my career.
And unfortunately, no, this is not a joke.
This event is a British tour on grass and includes the seed number 1 as Giles Hussey, who I actually played last year on the channel when he was ranked around 775 in the world. Now he's top 500. So let's see how I did.
Oh my god, they have cinematic mode on the front camera. That is so cool. Guys, so I thought I'd take you on a quick update of what's in my actual bag. Start off with this compartment. We've got my rackets, freshly strung. Obviously, we've got some towels because it's gonna get very, very hot. This front compartment, we've got just little loose bits. In here, change of clothes. White's gonna reflect the sun, so it's gonna keep you cool. In here, we've got a spare pair of shoes, just in case my grass court shoes malfunction. I'm not sure how that would happen. In here, we've just got bands, and in here, we've got even more like warm-up equipment. In here, we've got kind of a set of balls to warm up with, and then all of my like electrolytes and gels and stuff like that. Of course, finally, my grass court shoes. Let's now go to the tournament site and see what the courts are like.
We got to the venue over an hour before my match to do a good match warm-up and see what the practice courts were like. Really get a feel for the courts.
It's so hot out here today, guys, and these courts literally have holes in them, so it's going to be a fun experience. The ball does not bounce at all. A lot of serving and volleying and slicing going to be going on. I'm already sweating in the warm-up.
I was warming up today with Ben, who you saw in last week's video. Go and check it out if you haven't already. Based on my previous analysis of the courts, serve and volley was going to be key here. And of course, we finished with 1 or 2 fun points.
But quickly, before we take a look at whether I managed to get my first win on the grass, it would really help to support the channel if you could go down there and subscribe if you haven't already. Over 58% of you that watched last week's video weren't subscribed. So take 5 seconds, go check it out, and now let's take a look at the match.
My first opponent was to be Noah Burton in the qualifying of this event. Standing at 6'3", he had a monster serve and had some really huge weapons, which I was a bit nervous to play against on the grass. I knew that I'd have to stay super close up to the court because he's going to hit aces and fire down rockets like that and try and hit the return like that as much as possible. Now he went up an early break in this match, really showing some prowess on the serve, almost hitting 2 first serves, which was really tough to play against. I knew that I'd have to come forward to the net. I finally got my break point opportunity here at 3-2. Just played a high lob, Noah's left it, and it's just landed on the back of the baseline. From here, 3-all, it was basically just a serve battle until 5-all. I knew that I'd have to find a way of breaking his serve by being aggressive, as you can see. I managed to go up 40-15 in this service game, giving me a lot of confidence and at least securing a tiebreak if I could win this point. I get my first set point here at 6-5 after a long juice game. Noah's super aggressive here. I managed to defend pretty decently, go up the line, trying to put a lot of pressure on him and managed to force the error. Second set mindset was pretty much the same. Try and stay solid on the serve. Try and make sure that I'm moving well, getting used to the courts as much as possible because I'd have to play a second match on the same day in these super hot conditions. This point was probably one of the best of the match. Taking an early 1-love lead here. I was returning really freely because I knew that when Noah's serve went in, it was super tough to return, so any opportunity I got, I had to make the most of it. I went 4-2 up, but Noah managed to fight back in this game to go 40-15. He played a very, very strong game here, coming forwards to the net and breaking back to go 4-3. I knew that my job wasn't finished here, so I couldn't get complacent on this court. This point was pretty funny. I tried to just dip it low to his feet at the end, try and hustle, scramble. I didn't think that was going over, get a net cord, and eventually miss here. And these next few points were super crucial, but I managed to fight through and get my first match point. And there it is, my first grass court win ever.
Right guys, so I managed to get the win in my first match, which is huge. My first win on grass, actually in my career. So I'm very pumped about that. Third round of qualies in a minute, just about to go do a warm-up. Serve and volley is key. Let's go.
In the final round of qualifying, I played a player with ITF Pro points who was also playing on the ITF circuit. I started off confidently, strong in my first few service games, playing some really aggressive tennis. As the match went on, he began to draw out some longer rallies, make it a lot more physical and play some very, very good tennis himself. I began to struggle physically towards the second set. I managed to take the first, and for some reason, my heart rate was just super, super high the whole time. I felt very depleted and tired, and it didn't help that my opponent was playing some great tennis, forcing me to really have to play some great tennis back to try and hang in there in the match. My opponent ended up taking the second set, and unfortunately the camera cut out for the match tiebreak, which I eventually lost 10-7. I overall was pretty disappointed with my performance. I think there were a lot of things that I could have done a little bit better. I felt pretty sluggish and exhausted towards the end of the match, but obviously not the way I wanted to carry on the day, having just won my first grass court match.
Now, of course, when I got home, I was disappointed, frustrated, annoyed. However, all hope was not lost. Thanks to one lucky second chance, a lucky loser spot came available, meaning that someone that loses in the last round of the qualies has the chance to progress into the main draw. And I was lucky enough to get that lucky loser place.
Yeah, boy.
And suddenly the moods changed from frustration to motivation. I was ready. My opponent was going to be Michael Shaw, an ATP ranked pro. This was going to be my chance to win against an ATP pro on grass. I watched back both of my matches that I played the day before to look for anything that I could improve on to increase my chances of winning. And on the next morning, I packed my bag, redid my grips, wrote my game plan down, and got in the zone. It was time to go and play this match.
My opponent, Michael Shaw, stood at 6'5", roughly, give or take, and so I knew he was going to be a big server and also had a massive forehand, which meant that I had to be super quick on my feet and make sure that I was timing the ball well and redirecting his pace instead of trying to add pace. You can see here that we both win our first service games, which is a great start. Michael liked to come forwards when he could, which was obviously good intention, and I tried to keep it low as possible on the returns. I also tried to come forwards not only to minimise the physical strain in these it's very hot conditions, but also just to try and get some confidence of coming forwards. You can see I get a break point pretty early on. He clips the net on that drive volley, but some good confidence shown on his behalf, which I rate. So definitely, some positive stuff going on from me, getting these break point opportunities early on, that giving me some confidence on these return games. You can see once he has the opportunity to dominate with his forehand, it's almost tough to get out of it. I'm trying to hustle as much as possible, but when he's coming forwards, it's really tough unless I hit a very, very good shot. He was also pretty decent at returning. It would make it difficult for me with some deep returns. I knew as much as possible, I just have to scramble and try and come forwards to minimise those baseline rallies, which he has probably a higher chance of winning. I think that as well, staying low, like you can see there on my backhand, was a huge asset to be able to do, because you're just staying solid and you're really able to just stick that shot. Here at 3-all, I knew this is a point in the match where there's maybe a little bit of lull of concentration. You've won the first few games, you're in the match, but you're not quite at the important stage yet. Few reaction volleys, but I was locked in here. I get a second break point of this match. I say to myself, just hustle, make this return. He misses wide and I get rewarded. My first break in this match so far, 4-3 up, and I want to carry that through. He responds very, very well with a great ball on the line on the return there to my backhand side, and I get a little bit rattled. I make 1 or 2 unforced errors, not much in it. Definitely the right intentions on the shot, but that's what separates the good from the great, I think, and that's definitely something that watching this match back that I regret doing. Maybe making him play a few more balls would have been better, because he now has the momentum and even a little bit of luck, which gives him his first set point with me having been up a break about 10-15 minutes ago. And he ends up just about taking it. Also guys, if you enjoy this content, help me out on the road to 200,000 subscribers by going down there and smashing that subscribe button. So to begin the second set, I'm thinking to myself, that's so frustrating that I've ended up losing that. It was so close, there wasn't really much in it. So I just wanted to make sure that I could focus on what I could control, which was my service games. And I started off very strong, winning my opening service game to love. I had a lot of confidence on his returns, because when I was playing the return with confidence, it's tough on the grass to kind of redirect that return as a third ball, because it's not really sitting up. But Michael was serving very well, serving to his spots. He loved that T spot on both sides, juice and ad. But again, here for my 8th service point in a row, I was serving and hitting my first balls great. I was keeping it low, I was moving the ball, I was coming forwards, and that was again giving me lots of confidence. I definitely think that throughout the beginning of this first set, the level was probably the best that it was throughout the whole match. And again here at 3-2, similarly to where I broke, I didn't want to get broken here either. So I definitely made a conscious effort to make sure that this game went in my favour. I definitely think it started off pretty decently with that massive inside-out forehand, but eventually goes to 30 love, again winning I think 10 points in a row now on serve. Absolutely grinding and hustling from the back in these long rallies, hoping that the ball would just check or bounce in favour of me, on his side, because that's what these kind of courts do. They're obviously not Wimbledon courts, so for those of you that don't play a lot on grass, these courts are pretty volatile. There's some dodgy bounces, let's just say it like that. It's pretty slippery, pretty tough conditions, and you need a little bit of luck then to get through. So I win the first, I think, 12 points on serve, and again here Michael serving at 3-all. He had this big serve to bail him out of trouble on the big points, the 30-40s, the 40-30s. Those points he served very, very well, bang on the line every single time, and that was super almost frustrating. I wasn't getting any free points from it. And here, this point was absolutely nuts. I've got so much momentum, I was feeling so confident on my serve.
Play like it's a clay court.
I end up with losing a point on serves, that destroys the streak, but still super confident, super strong, and really pushing my momentum forwards. You know, he tries to stop that every single game, and this game here was obviously where I faltered at the last hurdle last time, so I definitely didn't want to make the same mistake. Had some balls there to go for that drop shot, but he does get a match point here at 30-40. Putt with the solid 1-2, I managed to fend it off, and I managed to give myself a game point to take us to 5-all, and to hopefully try and secure a break and hold for the set. Again at 5-all here, long service game. Michael with the serve, me just chipping it, trying to get it to his backhand. He does run around it, absolutely tease a ball onto the line. Camera does not do that justice. That was so frustrating. And definitely here in this service game, once again, really trying to make sure that I'm not making any stupid mistakes. But once you watch this, you're going to realize that he's played probably the best game of tennis of the whole match. And I'm far away on this third court right now. If I made that back, that would have been the craziest clip. But at this point in this game, I'm definitely thinking to myself, you know, try and come forwards, put the pressure on. He's hit unbelievable lob, like perfection on that lob. Literally nothing I can do. Takes us to 40-15. He hit another winner in this game as well. And ball checking crazily there, and me just not getting my feet in the right position, and that's how it ended.
Right, so have you ever seen anyone play such a good final game to break? Look, overall, I can't be too disappointed with that match. Of course, I'm frustrated that I lost. Those emotions never go away. It just doesn't come across on camera because usually it's a few days later. I've thought about what I did wrong, and I've thought about how I can improve, and already started training to do that. In terms of my next tournaments coming up, I've got a progress tour here in the UK on hardcourt coming up next week, which I'm super excited about, and then obviously some futures probably beginning around mid-July. So there's loads of awesome content coming up here on the channel, as well as loads and loads of tournaments which I'm working really hard behind the scenes to work towards. So thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in next week's video.